I push the button. We'll see what happens. Hey, y'all. Lord have mercy for Jesus. I don't have a paper plate or nothing. I'm going to have to use my little buck I made the other day. Connected to Facebook, connected to YouTube. We're here and we're in the right place. That's always a good sign. Hey, TikTok, we're going to be crafting tonight, you guys. I hope you'll hang out for a little bit and see what we're going to be doing eventually. And y'all, don't look at my floor because it's a hot mess back there. It's a mess. It's been a busy week. I'm not seeing any comments, though, from Facebook or YouTube, babe. So you'll have to tell me if we're where we're supposed to be.
Sound good.
I sound good? Oh, thank you.
On YouTube.
I am seeing 0 comments. Oh, there they go. Good evening. Hey, Sharon. Hey, Miss Sharon. Sharon, I have been working on the senior project for December. What is it? December? I forgot what date it is, but I'm going to be ready because we're going to make door hangers. George is cutting circles today. So, hey, everyone. David's doing the sound check, and then we will be ready to go. I am excited about tonight's project because we're experimenting. I'm going to attempt to make something bougie, y'all. We're going to see what happens. Is it going to be bougie or a bust? It won't be a bust. It may not be what I planned for, but it won't be a bust. It'll be fine.
YouTube just runs so slow. I mean, the lag is just, it's huge. I was waiting to hear me.
Oh.
And now, of course, I have to look.
I see blue comments, so I know Facebook is fine. I don't see any red comments, though. Is there anybody on YouTube?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So.
Oh, there are some red comments. Okay. Thank y'all.
I can welcome. It's weird. YouTube comes up for me right away because I've set it up for. There you go. Sound is okay on Facebook. I've set it up for alarms.
Oh, okay.
You know, I've subscribed, as we ask everybody to do.
Thank you.
On YouTube, subscribe.
Please subscribe if you're watching on YouTube.
I also set it up for notifications, which is, all that is just hit the bell.
Yeah.
On there, and that will let you know. And YouTube always comes up, but Facebook, I got to go looking every time.
I know. You know what? If you guys aren't getting the alerts on Facebook or the reminders on Facebook, you guys can sign up to get text alerts. I usually send them out 10 or 15 minutes before we go live. And if you want to get texts from me, I won't spam you, I promise. The number, if you'll text hello to 928-563-4641. That's 928-563-4641. And then that way you guys will get alerts whenever we're getting ready to go live.
So I will put that on both YouTube and Facebook.
And you guys know we're coming into the holiday season with all the sales. I don't do any public sales. All of my sales that I'll be doing will be via text, and those who are Recycled Insiders will be the ones who get the emails with the opportunities to get discounts on your crafting products for this Black Friday season. So,
all right.
Are we ready?
Yes.
Okay. Oh, you didn't say hi to nobody. My hair is looking extra today. I don't know what's going on with her. She's want to be tall. I don't know. She's just showing all my 5 head tonight.
All right. There you go. Text number is in the comments for both YouTube and Facebook.
Thank
you.
Let's
see. On YouTube, we have Redeemed, who just poured her glass of wine.
Oh,
what a busy weekend.
I have tea.
Petty Hogan says, hey. Deborah Allen, hello from Texas. Vicky Moore, Angela Soli.
Thank you, Lisa.
Brenda Berman, Linda Gorday or Gordette, I'm not sure which way. Patsy Lewis, Natalie Sparks says, I'm on YouTube. And Christine Welch, who says, hello from Montana. And over on the Facebooks, we have Memory Williams in Amarillo, Texas, Patty Otto Finnegan, Wendy Kramer, Jane Neese, Darien Country Cottage, Mary Grace Creations, Susan Steinberg Prentice, Pam Knight from over on the other side of the state in Yuma, Peggy Terrell. You're fanning yourself, and I'm freezing with 3 layers on.
It's just because I've been running around for like the last legitimately 45 minutes because, you know.
Pauline Marks from across the border in BC, British Columbia. Alyssa Bricker Visithin, love the text alerts. Lisa Vansil has subscribed to both Facebook, YouTube, and alerts. Flea Brown from from the Browns. She's making Ken watch every week now.
Poor Ken.
Ken.
We're sorry, Ken.
I'm sorry, brother. Santa Barbara. Karen, in my younger days, I would have looked at him and I would have said, "Hey, if I gotta be here, you gotta be here. Suck it up, Buttercup." But I'm nicer now.
Are you? You're more mature.
Yeah, I'd be like,
You've chilled out now.
I don't want to see one of my fellow men suffer.
It's not suffering. Are you suffering? Is that what you're telling me?
This is not my cup of tea.
Okay, that's fair.
You know, so by the same token, you go to comic conventions with me. I do. So I cannot complain. Peggy Terrell, you're hysterical. 5-head, never heard that before. Jean Higginbotham, Karen Moyer from Pennsylvania, Kathleen O'Brien Hoovis from Illinois, Carmen Dahmer.
Hey, Miss Carmen.
Tina Krieger LaMontagne, Sonia Nelson from Pennsylvania, Celestine Todd from Texas, excuse me. Another Pennsylvania, Dawn Perry Headley. Boy, we're going heavy on the Keystone State tonight. Huh? All right. Let's see. And Celestine Todd from Texas. Sonia Nelson says your hair is cool. She is also in Pennsylvania. Let's see. Holly Pohl from Buffalo, New York. Verla Cookson McDonald, Julie Brawley, who asked what you're mixing. And Flea says, watching with me was his idea. It's another date night for us. Aww. He's not suffering. What a smart guy Ken is.
That's his story, and he is sticking to it.
Oh, boy, Ken, you give us all hope. See, I was ready to sympathize for you, and now I'm like, no, she's already doing this. Now you just call it date night, and you get away. Oh, man, he's brilliant.
He's brilliant. That's brilliant.
Yeah. Let's see. Browns are also on YouTube. So is Joan Volkman from Kenosha. And let's see. Lori West just jumped on from Tennessee. And Lauren Dupuis Martone.
Good evening. Good evening. Good evening, you guys. If we have anybody new watching, my name is Royce Bell, and the voice you hear behind the camera is my wonderful husband, David Bell, and together we make up Recycled Treasures. And so we meet here every Sunday for crafting, chatting and crafting. I have no idea what we're going to talk about tonight. I didn't even try. I've given up. I used to try to give my husband topics to talk about, but it doesn't work. It doesn't work. So it's moot. We just talk about whatever now. But I am mixing up. This is Venetian plaster that we're going to be working with tonight, you guys. And so I'm mixing it up because I kind of wanted to get Venetian plaster down first so we can get it dry. So I'm going to tell you guys my plans. So I'm going to be using the new Roycycled Frames stencil. This frame is 12 by 17, so it's a good size stencil. And there's actually 2 frames in this stencil. Let me put you guys down so you guys can see what I'm doing. There's actually 2 frames in this stencil because you have the square, or not really the square, como se dice, the rectangle.
If you're going to show anything on the overhead camera, turn it the other way. It's you showed the bag upside down.
Oh, okay. This way?
I don't know. It's going to take an hour now for the leg.
It's Amy Howard's Venetian plaster is what I'm working with. And I'm going to be using it with the new Recycled Frames stencil. And we're going to be using the neutral blocks. Oh, man.
Yes, that is the way.
Okay.
Top away from you.
We're going to be using the neutral blocks, decoupage paper, the neutral Christmas blocks. And oddly enough, I want to capture, remember this guy kind of got left in the bushes last time. So we're going to highlight the dove in this project, and we'll go over that when we get there. And so what I'm wanting to do, we'll see if we're successful, is I want to make something that's kind of bougie. I'm going to use my Venetian plaster through the stencil. And then I want to make a lot of movement in the background. So we're going to use some different color. I actually have 2 colors of milk paint. This one's a white and this one's black. So one's white. Oh no, this is Sunday Suppers. And it's a gray, but it has a lot of red in it. And so I also grabbed the black, which, oh, it's right here. I was going to panic. Just in case, I just may have to mix together some grays myself. And so we're going to make some layers tonight, and I'm prayerful that we're going to be able to get through this project. So the reason why I'm kind of not rushing, but I want to get the plaster down so that we can have time. And so this board, you guys, was just, it's just a wood, like, art panel. But I just went through and I did a wash with a really warm gray before we started to make sure that it would be dry. So I just did that to save us time. And you guys know a wash is just some watered down paint. And sorry. Look, I can't talk and work at the same time. Watered down paint and mixed it all over the board and then wiped off any excess. And so now I am going through, and I think I'm going to like this color, but I'm not sure. Worst case scenario, we can just dry brush a different color over the top if I don't like it. We can always fix it, right?
Okay, so I have a couple of questions.
Yes.
Before I ask my questions, number one, Lisa Vansil, thank you. Any retailers, please put your links on.
Yes, please.
We want that because people are always looking for, especially Christmas themed.
Yes, the paper and the stencils.
Yeah.
So Royce Cycles retailers, please put links so customers can find you. I know my new retailers are always surprised that they're allowed to do that, but I don't sell directly because I don't like competing with my retailers. And so I know that customers sometimes have a hard time finding a retailer. So if you come on live on Sunday and you're a Royce Cycles retailer, absolutely put your links in the comments so customers can find you.
The other thing is, if you're on Facebook, please share. I mentioned YouTube, subscribe, hit the bell.
Yes.
Facebook, we'd really appreciate it if you comment. Because A, it lets us know you're getting what you want out of this.
Hey. Sorry.
And B, it really does help because, like we said, not everybody sees notifications.
Yes.
But if there's a lot of comments, it'll go out to people that normally interact. That may have forgotten.
May have forgotten or
so
they
here are
didn't
my
get an
questions
alert.
before you start.
Yes.
One, did you prime that wood piece?
I did not prime this by design because I'm working with milk paint. So with Amy Howard's milk paint, if you use it directly over like unfinished wood, you don't have to add a binder. But if you're going to put it over another painted surface, then you'd want to use a binder with it. So I think I'm okay because I literally just did a wash and wiped off the paint. So this wood is still pretty open. And if I have problems, baby, the binder's over there.
Okay, because I can see some wood coming through.
Yes.
On camera. So, and I know you had always talked about that. The need for priming.
Yes. Yeah. If I were trying to block out any tannins or anything like that, or if I was worried about that, I would absolutely. And this wood is art wood. It's new. So you really don't have to prime on this, honestly.
Fair enough.
But usually we're working with upcycled pieces. And so those we definitely want to prime because we don't know what's going on with those pieces.
Second question, you called it Venetian plaster?
Yes.
Is that just a name or did it originate in Venice? Or...
Oh, Lord, why are you going to ask me hard questions?
Well, I didn't know if it's something specific to a region.
No, it is.
Because this is the first time I've heard it.
Yes, it is. This does come out of Europe. And then this is a traditional Venetian plaster that you would see artists use on buildings and stuff in European countries. So we are using genuine Venetian plaster. I know usually I have more explanation for y'all. I'm fired. I'm sorry. That's all I have for you tonight. I will get more info. I'll look up the history of Venetian plaster.
Well, whenever you introduce something
new,
I'm assuming, whoops, your thing is not on the bottom, the two supports on the bottom.
Oh.
I just looked up, and I think that was my fault. Because I'm the one who said it this time, not you.
There we
So
go.
you're going to have to adjust your camera.
It's okay. They can still see me. I'm just in the little circle.
Oh, okay. So, yeah, this is why Dave does not set the cameras.
No, I appreciate it because I was running around all willy-nilly. So you helped me out. Thank you.
That was my radio name back in Lake Havasu.
Willy-nilly?
Willy-nilly. How you doing, everybody? Willy-nilly, spinning the platters that matter.
Stop it.
No, when I hear something new from you,
I know.
I just assume, look, I don't know nearly as much as this audience does. Everybody that's on here is really, really knowledgeable, much more than me. But it's possible it could be the first time for somebody.
It could be. And honestly, if I had planned this out well in advance, I would probably have a better, more information for you guys. But I just decided. That's why I was running around willy-nilly. Because I just decided to use the plaster.
And Melissa Paget did say, yes, it is used on walls in Venice.
Yes.
So that's why I say, I assume you guys probably know it, but maybe somebody new is on.
And doesn't know it. And you guys see, I don't know if you guys see, you guys know I watch all kinds of artists, right? And I love watching the faux finish artists do walls. And what you see them using on the walls is plaster.
Lee RL says, I'm a complete newbie. So
Hi, Lee.
good. Good, Lee. Thank you. And Janet Taylor Borger says she would like to hear the platters.
She's putting in her request.
Yeah. The request line is not open. I'm sorry.
And I'm just pushing this through my stencil. I did not adhere my stencil to the surface. So I hope it's relatively clean. Honestly, I kind of don't mind if it's not perfectly clean. I'd like to capture the essence of the design of the stencil, but I'm really wanting to make something that looks like it's old. Look, you guys, I'm going to try to make something bougie. We'll see what happens.
Lisa Vancil asks, is the Venetian plaster easier to use than milk paint?
Oh, man. So the Venetian plaster is the different. So you guys know I usually use salt wash, right? So I'm just experimenting with the Venetian plaster versus using salt wash. So this is a thickening agent. And you guys saw me put some powder in it. That was just a pigment. And so we're going to use pigment over the top. We're going to use milk paint over the top of this plaster to create our background before we start putting our paper on. I have a lot of plans. We'll see if we get through all of them tonight.
And Wendy Kramer asks, what is the color in the plaster?
This is a pigment, and this one is called Provincial Yellow is what it's called. And I kind of want something, so everything in our composition is going to be cool, grays, whites, and I think I want something warm as a contrast. But like I said, if we put it together and I don't like it, then we can just dry brush over the top of it. But I just want this kind of peeking out from underneath the gray.
Let's see. Chris Schmidt says, evening, Royce, Willie, and everybody. Sorry
Hi,
I'm late.
Chris.
Carmen asks, could you use regular paint?
Regular paint? You could use, so if you wanted to use paint with the stencil, absolutely.
All right.
I just wanted a little bit of texture on this project.
So here's what Carmen actually said.
Okay.
So I'm not entirely certain if I asked her a question properly.
Okay.
She said, could you use regular in paint? And then immediately after said plaster. So I don't know if she's asking, could you use regular paint in plaster?
In the plaster?
Could you mix a paint in the plaster?
I think so, Carmen. I'm pretty sure, especially because a lot of us use the chalk style paints or the paints that already have what's the word I'm looking for? Good night. I think so, Carmen. I'm pretty sure.
Paige Komar says, I've never used a texture paste or anything and just got Eileen's True Snow. It's like whipped cream. She's using it now as snow on her projects. Going to try a raised stencil with it now.
Ooh, I want to see that when you're done, okay?
That does sound cool.
And I probably should have done my paper before I did this, because now my stencil is going to be whopper jaw. It's going to be jacked when I go to do my paper. See, this is what happens when I don't take time to think things through, you guys. But this is what it looks like when I am in my my laboratory messing around. That's when I figure stuff out.
Carmen says regular plaster into paint.
I think so, Carmen. I don't see why not. Okay, I think that's good. I'm honestly just trying to remove a lot of the plaster because I know I have to use the stencil in a few minutes with my paper. I didn't think that through. Maybe I have another. I wasn't sure about this side because it had lifted up a little bit, but I think we're okay. So I'm going to use my little heat gun to dry this, and then we'll get to move on to the fun parts. And so this is one of those projects where you're going to have to trust the process because it's going to be ugly until it's done. It just is. And I thought about using Posh's, one of Posh's metallic paste for the frame, which I could have done that too. Any kind of, even if you have salt wash, like whatever you have on your table is gonna work. I'm just curious. I've been watching a lot of the faux finish artists, and they polish their Venetian plaster, and I'm not able to get my salt wash to polish. So I was curious to see if I could sand this and get it to have like a more polished finish. And so I figured we would discover it together. Because honestly, y'all, you guys make me come in here create. So since we're hanging out, we're going to discover together.
Okay, 2 questions. Kathleen
Yes.
O'Brien Hoovis, can you save the leftover yellow plaster?
Yes, you can save it, but I'll have to refrigerate it because this plaster doesn't have any chemicals or anything. It's all made with natural things. So I'm going to save that, but I'm going to have to, I'll probably put it in a little Ziploc bag and put it in the refrigerator. I couldn't just leave it here in my shop because it would actually spoil.
And Lisa Vansel, what about mica powders into plaster?
Yes, you can put mica powders into plaster, absolutely. Which would be so fun, right, Lisa?
That does look kind of cool.
My friend
on that
Stacy,
color.
right? I think this will be a nice contrast peeking through the gray is what I'm thinking, but we'll see. Like I said, if we don't like it, we can just dry brush over it. It'll be fine.
All right, so while we're drying.
So one more thing really quickly
Yes.
before you start, because the question about the mica flower. So my friend Stacy Van Gundy, I went and helped her at Pinners this year. She did a class where they made some geodes and they used different mica powders and they used like these big old sheets of mica, big old pieces like this. I guess it's called mica paper. It was really cool. But she has a metallic plaster that she is just launching, and it's absolutely beautiful. And it's so fluffy and so light, and it's so pretty. So I'm hoping to get my hands on some soon, so I can share with you guys.
So now I have a question before I have a question for the group.
Yes.
But I'm watching you dry this and it's knocking back the color. Mm-hmm. Is that supposed to happen?
Yeah, with these products, when it's wet, it's just deeper. And then as it dries, it changes colors a little bit. But once we seal it, those colors it'll go back to being that.
Will it? Oh, okay,
deeper
because it's that yellow, that bright yellow really looks good.
Yeah.
And it fading doesn't look bad, but it doesn't look as good.
No, and this is just a layer. So I'm going to paint over the top of this. And so this is literally just a layer. We're going to go over this with a couple of different grays, and then we're going to use another product to kind of wipe back, hopefully to reveal all the layers to make something that looks really rich and really beautiful. And then we're going to end up painting this inside white anyways. So I'm not really worried about what's going to go on in there. Or it might be easier just to paint the back of the paper, actually, is what we're going to do for this one.
So before I ask my question, Melissa Paget, I took a Venetian plaster class years ago, and it polishes beautifully, but not sure about thin lines.
Oh, I guess we'll see, Melissa. I don't know. I just thought it would be really pretty for it to be polished, especially because I do want to go over the top of it with some of the metallic gold. You guys know I'm all about the pale gold right now. I swear I'm like a 3-year-old. I have craft jags where I'm just like in love with something for a long time, and then I move on to something else.
Sharon Reyes says, Venetian plaster is beautiful. Did a dining room years ago, mustard yellow with gray glaze, then burnished. It was labor intensive, but loved it, and she said it was a Ralph Lauren product.
The burnishing is beautiful, right? It takes on this beautiful sheen when you burnish it, but because you're troweling it on, all of it doesn't take on the same sheen. So you have like visual and physical texture when you use it. I'm really hoping to experiment a lot more with the Venetian plaster. Because I think it can have some really pretty applications. Yes, you can do your walls, but I think there can be some really pretty home decor and mixed media applications for it as well.
Now, Karen Moyer says, is it changing color because of the embossing powder?
No, there's no embossing powder. So this was actually a pigment powder. So essentially, this is what they use when they color your paint. They just use pigments in your paint. And so this is a pure pigment that I added to it. And so it's just drying. And the color is just becoming more subdued, but when I seal it, that color will pop again.
On YouTube, Paige Komar, gonna try a pearlescent white mica powder in my snow paste to do my stencil. Said thanks for the idea of the mix. And she says, what do you mean by polishing?
You can, so with, you get like, a 300 grit sanding pad and you sand it, but it doesn't just sand it, it actually polishes it to a really smooth finish where you can actually create like a satin finish by sanding it. So you guys ever do rocks when you were younger? Remember we used to polish rocks? So it's kind of like polishing. You're polishing it, right? You're taking all the texture off of the top and you're actually polishing it so it takes on a super smooth sheen almost. We're gonna have to play with plaster, aren't we?
Let's see. Carmen Dowmer, kind of like DIY paint, gets really, really light when dry, then dark again when field or wax.
Yeah, exactly, Carmen.
And Sharon Reyes said, exactly, it feels like soft leather, but with a visual texture.
Yes.
Burnished it with a metal trowel. Until it's sealed or waxed. Carmen's spell check is killing her right now.
We knew what she meant.
Autocorrect is killing her. It really is.
We knew what she meant.
Lee RL says, I bought an actual shipping trunk that's over 100 years old.
Ooh.
The editor and me wanted to change that. It's not over, it's more than.
Just leave it, baby. Leave it.
Over is physical. More than 100 years.
Y'all see why I don't let him edit my stuff?
I know.
Somebody asked me, does David edit your, when I write a blog article or something? No, he cannot edit my stuff.
So it's over 100 years old. She wants to refurbish. I said she. I don't know if Lee is man or woman. I apologize. Lee wants to refurbish, keep some of the original ship stamps on it and decoupage. So been watching your videos for a while now to learn. That's cool.
That sounds like a super cool project.
I want to see that project.
I know, I do too.
Okay, so let's see. One last one. Lisa Van Sil, the stencil over corrugated paper on a clipboard might be fun.
Ooh, that would be nice, Lisa.
Let's see.
I know, have you guys been watching my reels? I've been doing a lot of reels using the new Royce Cycled stencils. I want to show you guys a couple of my projects. And I'm just playing around because I don't know. So this one, I used the light bulb on the, I want to say this one is on the beaker stencil. Or I think this one's on the cloche stencil. I can't remember. I'm sorry, y'all. But I used resin paper over white. And so I kind of like that. And this is, I don't know if I'm done with this. I think I might go in with my pencils and add some marks. I'm not sure. And I'm not sure. I don't really like the way I did that. Anyways, I'm going to mess with it a little bit. But I do love the way the light bulb came out on this. And then you guys, when I did the larger cloche, a lot of you asked for a smaller cloche. And so we did this one, and there's a cloche and a jar on this stencil, as well as some smaller elements. And so this was one I made. I actually used the blue part of Ricky Schumacher's. I think I did Standing Proud was this one, I think. The blue from the sky, and I put the stencil over the paper and cut it out. And then the same thing here, this was another part of that same paper. and this was the jar cloche. I mean, this was the jar stencil, and I'm putting butterflies in there. I still have to add some more butterflies inside my jar. And the one I'm actually the most excited about is this one, because I actually decoupaged over the top of my transfer. And so I took full advantage of the transparent nature of the paper. And again, this is like the top part of one of Ricky Schumacher's paper. And I like using it because it's not just one flat blue color. There are really beautiful variations in it. And I think that's why I'm able to make it look like glass, is because of the variations in the skies of her art pieces. And so I was able to decoupage this over the top of the Elysium transfer from IOD, but you could put it over any flowers, right, to get the same thing. And so these are just pieces I'm making for myself to sprinkle around to remind me. So this one says bloom. The one with the jar is going to say fly. So, you know, you guys know words are super powerful. I just really believe they are. And so I like surrounding myself with affirmations, because my husband knows that my mind can get me going, and I'll be all stressed out about something that I may or may not need to be stressed out about.
I would argue that 90% of what we all get stressed out about, we don't need to.
I know. It's just...
Not just you. That's, I think, in everybody.
Yeah.
So, Susan Boehner Whitmore Glazer, per Wikipedia, Venetian plaster is a wall and ceiling finish consisting of plaster mixed with marble dust, applied with a spatula or trowel in thin multiple layers, which are then burnished to create a smooth surface with the illusion of depth and texture.
Yes. You guys know all that sounds like things I love, right? Sorry.
Paige Komar says she minored in English, so she accepts my statement. Melissa Paget says, David, I go crazy with fewer and less. I'm with you, Melissa, 100%. The one that I find that I use that drives people crazy, there are two. Lighted rather than lit, because generally lighted is the past tense of light, not lit.
Okay.
And dived rather than dove, because you don't dove into... A dove is a bird. It's D-O-V-E. It's dove. You dived into it. And, here the other thing. Excuse me. Carmen Dahmer, I like your hair reel. Kathleen O'Brien Hoovis, I enjoy your reels, right to the point. Chris Schmidt, your reels have been excellent recently. Lisa Vansil, like the reels, easy peasy, sneaky peeks at work.
Yes.
Paige Komar with a, what's it called on YouTube? Super chat. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
She says, thank you for the fun inspiration.
Thank you.
And Heidi, you're going to challenge me. Kulachowski says, boy, I hope I got that right. Kulachowski, just ordered the frame stencil. Can't wait to use it. It does look super cool on here. So, okay. So here's my question for the group. We were at lunch today.
Oh, Lord.
After church lunch with some friends of ours who just recently lost their mother.
Yeah.
One of Royce's good friends. I was in a class with her. We loved her. Literally loved her. That's not a TikTok, ooh, I love you, girl. No, we literally love this woman.
Yes.
And we were discussing Christmas gifts. And I mentioned that I generally do the shopping.
David does the Christmas shopping because he does it all year, and he's such a good gift giver.
And I might have somebody that I buy for that really, really bugs me about wanting to know what was purchased for her.
I do. Y'all, it drives me crazy. I want to know. He won't tell me.
So I'm curious if you guys are, because I don't care. First of all, I say you don't have to buy me anything because I buy enough stuff. I'm fine. But if you buy me anything, I'll wait. You get mad at me if I buy something for myself and I don't open it right away.
I know. I open the boxes that come to the house because he'll just let it sit there.
Yeah, because I know what I bought. I'm good.
No, I want to know.
I'm curious what what's your position? Is it I got to know right now, or I can wait? I enjoy the surprise. Kathleen Hoovis says, I don't understand what you're doing. Why are you painting over the stencil?
So what we're going to do is I'm going to apply some layers and we're going to sand back to reveal the layers. So I'm just laying down all the layers right now. So we're going to reverse design tonight. So we're working in reverse tonight, Kathleen. So yes, I'm painting over it. And so I'm going to be using different colors of grays, which is why I chose that really warm color, because I'm hoping that the contrast will be really pretty peeking through the glaze. So we're not going to see the whole stencil. We'll see the whole stencil because I'm going to go in and we're going to glaze to highlight that texture. But you won't necessarily see the gold all the way through. It's just going to be like a peekaboo.
All right. You are my people. Angie Champagne, I prefer the surprise. Melissa Paget, no way should he tell you it's a surprise.
You guys are not supposed to be on his side. You guys are my friends.
Lisa Vansell, don't tell David. Janet Taylor Borgers, you have to wait to Christmas.
Oh my gosh.
Or Hanukkah, whichever your holiday is. We don't, we love them all. Maureen Peterson, mostly I like to wait. Mostly. See that? Flea says Ken likes to guess what each present is. Michelle Adamus can wait. Janet Borgers can wait.
It kills me.
Holly Pohl can wait. Melissa Paget, one way to know what you're getting is to tell them what you want with a link.
I have not, the last 2 years, I think I've ruined it because I bought what he was going to buy me. Right?
Yes. Yeah, you were going to buy them.
Yes, and so he had to tell me.
Carol Kincaid says, enjoy the surprise. Karen Moyer says, I have a harder time waiting to give a gift.
Karen, I'm both. I'm horrible about holding on to a gift, too. Because I just want to see the person's face when they get it right now.
Yeah, she'll gift it early depending on how excited I am for the person to see it. Tracy Newcomb says, wait, definitely, but I'm the only one in my family. Everybody else wants to peek. Kathy Teggerdine says, I like to be surprised. Doris Rushing says, surprises are the best. Liz Clark, always wait. Jane Neese says, I have no problem waiting. Marty Hardy, I do not open a box that does not have my name on it. It is like getting in your mother's purse. Once when I was little, I opened a gift. I felt bad for years. It is Christmas. You just got to wait. Carmen Dahmer, we used to adopt a family every year. So my one daughter would do all the shopping. My husband would pay for a doll. I would wrap it all, and then my other daughter and son would deliver it. We just got two of our Christmas wish tree kids.
Yes.
We'll get a couple more before this is over.
And we always pick the older kids because we feel like people generally pick younger kids.
Yeah. So, and as it was, I still didn't go as older as I wanted. I didn't see anybody in the teens.
Yeah.
So we got like 12-year-olds, but I'm okay with that.
I should have. Did I grab some cracked gesso? I didn't. Dang it.
Dawn Burns Oliver, I can wait. I tell them the stuff I want, but I also buy my own stuff.
I'm good at that.
Anna Pierce, I can't wait. I want to know.
See? Anna's like me.
Doris Rushing, our rule, no one is allowed to purchase items for themselves after September. Lisa Vansell says she really likes what you're doing.
So the reason why I bought the things, just in my own defense, was because it was a really good Black Friday sale.
Kathleen O'Brien Hoovis, I remember when I was little, my older sister told me all my presents on Christmas Eve.
Oh.
It ruined Christmas for me.
No.
Oh, that. She should have gotten coal. Wendy Kramer says waiting is fun. Anna Pierce, as a kid, I would gently peel back tape and rewrap. It's bad, I know. Let's see, on the YouTubes. Paige Comar, opened my packages right away. Celestine Clark, have to wait, love surprises. Paige also says, I send my mom links. My son sends me links. And Patsy Lewis says, surprise, surprise, surprise.
I'm terrible, you guys. I am just terrible about waiting for surprises.
One year, I must have been, I must have been 12-ish. I know I was still in grammar school.
Oh, I have
And
another one.
but I was still around toys. Not that I am now too still, but still playing with toys rather than collecting toys. So maybe 11, maybe 12. My mom just, I don't know if it was crazy season. Well, always is. Holidays are crazy for cops.
I was gonna say your mom's a policewoman. I can't even imagine
it was just
what the holidays were like.
And she was working overtime, as we talked about, because she put me through a private school.
Yeah.
And so she worked overtime to pay for that. But she was working a ton of overtime that Christmas season. And I don't know if she just decided it was easiest or it was just time. She's like, let's go. We're buying your Christmas presents. And she took me out and let me pick what I wanted.
Oh.
But I could not open them until Christmas.
Oh, that's more painful.
And it was.
Because you know exactly what you're getting.
And there was nothing wrapped that year. It was just sitting there under the tree. And I would call her at work and I'm like, can I just open this one? No. And I was like, and she was working midnights on Christmas Eve. And I called her and I said, it's Christmas. It's like 12:01.
Oh, you didn't even wait for her to come home from work?
And I said, can I open? She goes, no, not until I get home.
Yeah. She bought them. She had to be home to see your face.
I looked at her and I said, we're never doing that again.
Never again. So you guys, I want to have some movement in this piece. I should have did 2 separate ones instead of just going in with my gray. So I am just like kind of going in willy-nilly, but I want that gray to be peeking through, but I don't necessarily want brush marks. So I'm playing. This is how I figure things out. You guys know how I see you guys asking questions like, I tried this and it didn't work, or I tried this and I didn't get the result that I wanted. A lot of time it takes you to just play and experiment to be able to discover what you actually like. We're finishing up the decoupage masterclass, and this week we had a challenge with like a bingo game where you had to choose random things to use in your project. And it was really nice because some of the feedback wasn't just about the project, but it was like, I realized that I liked, this kind of decoupage method better, or I discovered that this was easier for me. And so that's part of the thing. You guys can watch, but you really want to get your hands dirty and dive in and do, because if you're just watching, you're really not going to be able, you're not going to learn the way you do when you actually, execute the thing that you want to learn.
Paige Cromar says, crumple up foil and dab the paint to get a cool texture instead of brushing.
Oh, you know what I could do? Where's my this is what I'm going to do too. Sorry, you just made me think about something. I'm going to use saran wrap. No, I'm going to use some saran wrap over it.
Let's see. Amber Demakowitz, I can't wait to give my kids their gifts. It's hard.
It is hard, Amber. Yeah. I'm just as bad about giving gifts as I am about receiving them. Just as a note, I don't know.
Paige also says, my son always talks me into opening one the night before, either a birthday or Christmas Eve. We've always done that with our kids.
Yeah, that was part of our kind of what we did, right? Was we get to open one gift on Christmas Eve. And I remember my son one year, he opened a gift and he wanted, what was that the little video game, the first one? Yeah, he wanted a Game Boy so bad. And I was working for the state then. I could barely afford that damn thing, but I got him one. But on Christmas Eve, what he opened, so I bought him a Game Boy, but I bought him a case. And I bought him the little light that you could stick in, all the different things. And so the night before, he opened his gift, and it was the case. But his jubilance was as if he had received the Game Boy. And then when he realized it wasn't, he was just so distraught. Even though he knew he was going to get it the next day, he still talks about that. He's like, Mom, that was just wrong. That was just wrong for you to do that. I'm like, I was just buying gifts that made sense for a 12-year-old.
We always picked out a gift for the kids to open. We did not let them pick on the gift.
Yeah.
And we also did okay, you can open this one, and it was always pajamas. And it took about 2 or 3 years for the two of them to figure out.
Like, yeah, we don't want to open the pajamas.
Hey, pajamas? Really?
I know.
And then we're like, all right, you can open one more. And then they were like, we know we're getting, but just give us the pajamas.
Just give us the pajamas. Ours was goofy slippers. Every year the boys would get a new pair, the big old furry, like bare feet or something like that. So yeah, pajamas and then the goofy slippers were a guaranteed, and underwear.
Yeah.
Because I don't know what boys do to underwear. I'm not sure. I don't understand how it happens, the things that actually happen.
When your pants fall down when you're carrying groceries from the car, sometimes you got to grab, and occasionally you just pull that elastic waistband a little too much. Let's see. Wendy Kramer says waiting's fun. Let's see. Karen Moyer. When I was little, we always peeked. I got really good at opening and retaping gifts. One year, my brother and I actually took a door off the hiding closet by the hinges. Gosh. Because it had a lock on it.
The hiding closet?
The hiding closet. Candace Clay, I'm assuming you're referring to my mom. That sounds mean. I am telling you, that year, I remember barely seeing my mother that December.
She was working
so much. My grandmother. I was with my grandmother that December. Because I don't know what it was. Maybe it was just a crazy year. If I was 11, that would have been 73. So 72, 73, 74, somewhere in there. And, we had war protests, we had civil rights protests.
So there was just a lot of unrest.
There was just a lot of women's lib protests happening, all of which, surprisingly, my mother had no problem with.
Yeah, but they still had to be there to make sure people were safe. But they still had to be there
and did things get crazy. Luckily, she wasn't there for the Democratic convention. She didn't get called out to that. Because, like I say, she worked in a suburb, but that was 68.
Yeah.
But we knew guys in our neighborhood who did, because, like I said, in 68, I was living in Chicago. So.
What happened at the Democratic convention?
Oh, it went crazy. The police, Mayor Daley ordered the police to crack down on the protesters, and it got super violent.
Oh, no.
Yeah, it went bad very quickly. So.
I was going to say, for the ladies who are out there burning their bras, I still have to go to work full time, and I still have chores at the house now. Like, I got double duty now.
But, no. Here's the thing.
I'm just being funny. I appreciate it. I do.
I'm going to stick up for them because, remember, when they were doing that, women couldn't open their own bank accounts.
Oh, I know.
Couldn't get their own credit cards. That's insane.
Right? I know.
So...
No, yeah. I know. I'm just being a dork.
I mean, yeah, burning your bra is that...
I'm not even burning the bra part.
But they were, and it's like, that seems silly on its face.
No, it doesn't.
But the reality is I understood what they're doing now.
Yeah. You missed the whole part of the joke. That was the important part.
I know. I got it. I'm just standing up for women on this one.
Okay. I was just saying that now I've been liberated to work full time and still have to take care of the house. That's all I'm saying. I think there needs to be further liberation. Like 50-50 on the chores, too. Although, we're pretty good.
Yeah.
Because we're old.
Melissa Paget, I accidentally opened a door to the room where my dad was assembling a dollhouse. I felt terrible. Oh, I was the king of, you guys do not get to come in this door.
I remember when I got, one year I got a dollhouse. It was the Waltons. I was so happy. I had all the people. And I grew up, you guys, I was one girl. One. All my cousins were not heads. And even my great cousins were boys, the ones who were my age. So I had all these boys. They came to my house. They broke John Boy's leg on Christmas Day. I was so mad.
I had uncles do that. One cousin and an uncle do that to... I forgot what it was. It was a game of some sort. Which my mother learned early on, don't get David games.
No?
David's an only child.
Oh, I know, huh?
So me having games is like,
not helpful.
If I go over to a friend's house, I got to take the game there.
Yeah.
It's like, So I didn't get games. But I got a game one year, and that day, it got ruined. They also ruined my little cousin's Easy Bake Oven or something.
Yeah, they broke my Easy Bake Oven. They broke my bulb that was in there. Can you tell how I still have emotions about it?
They were sauced. Let's just be honest.
Oh, they were always breaking my stuff. Turkey.
Not my cousins, my uncles.
Yeah, it was my cousin.
Yeah. Dana McLean. Royce, I used to unwrap and peek, then wrap it back up. Act surprised. I should get an award for my performances.
Hey, Dana Cheryl.
Now Rich hides the gift until everyone is opening gifts, so I can't peek. Melissa Paget, could you walk us again through your actions and goals on this piece?
So I'm sorry, you guys. I am honestly, I don't have I have an idea of what I want to do, right? So my goal on this piece is to create layers and then peel back so that we have the different colors peeking through. So we have something that's really interesting around the frame. That is my goal. But I'm kind of like doing stuff as I go. So somebody mentioned the foil, and so I was using the plastic just to create some random textures in there because it was a little bit too contrived with my brush. So I went in with the wrapper just to create some texture and pull off some of the darker gray to reveal some of the lighter gray underneath. And now actually I'm gonna sand back because I don't want to lose my frame completely, right? And so I'm just gonna sand a little bit so I get some of the see, I knew that was gonna be pretty. That yellow kind of peeking through the gray.
Did you answer why you're using the wrap?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that was just to create the texture. Yes. Yeah. Celestine, that was just to create texture because the plastic is going to pull off some of that color. I had to find a dry brush. I washed all my brushes, you guys, right before we came on.
Susan Steinberg Prentice, women couldn't own a house. I think it's you couldn't buy a house because you could inherit a house.
Yeah, but even because I love period movies from like the late 1800s. I don't know why, I just do. But you'd have instances where a husband died and the woman didn't inherit the house. Like the husband's oldest brother would be responsible for then overseeing her finances.
Are you talking about in the 19th century or in the 20th century?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I think it depends on where you were too. But I mean, just the whole idea that women couldn't have their own property and manage their own finances.
Carmen Dahmer, we always used to give the kids a choice on Christmas Eve. One was always a tin of popcorn. The other was PJs. So they had cute PJs for the morning. And in the morning, I like this, a camera for them to take their own pictures.
Ooh.
That's a great idea.
When we used to go on vacation,
everybody has it on their phone, but
we used to give the kids disposable cameras on vacation, so they could take pictures. It was usually like fingers and noses, but there were a few good pictures.
Flea Brown says this is inspiring for a large furniture project that she's stuck on.
You know what, Flea? You can absolutely use plaster on furniture. Absolutely. And so now I'm gonna try. You guys, we're experimenting here. So I just want you guys to know that. I'm not the expert yet. I'm literally experimenting with you guys. So we're discovering together. But this is going to help me peel back more layers. So whenever you do a sand distress, I want to show you guys something. When you do a distress with a sander, you get these really sharp edges, which is fine. It's one look. But you can also wet distress, or you can wipe back using something wet. And what you get is a really soft, more natural looking distressed look. And so I want to have some of that too. So we're going to go in with this product, and I'm just going to saturate my paint and let this sit, and then I'm going to come back through and we're going to wipe back some more.
So what are you using? What liquid?
This is called an antiquing glaze, farmhouse antiquing glaze from Amy Howard. And it just helps you lift up the milk paint, and you get a softer it's I don't know. It's just softer than using your sanding block. Your edges are softer. Um,
Well, sanding block could take some of it off,
well,
theoretically.
it just looks sharper. I do want to take it off. That's what I'm doing. I'm lifting it off.
No, I'm talking about the original that you laid down, the plaster.
Oh, yeah, it could.
Yeah, depending on how rough you
Yeah,
are.
you have to be soft.
Yeah.
But I mean, when you use a wet distress, and you guys can do this, like DIY paint, for instance, it stays open. So you can just use water to do this with your DIY paint, right? And you can reveal your layers underneath. Some of the chalk style paints stay open longer, so they allow you to do this as well. But this is what I'm supposed to use with the milk paint. So this is what I'm doing. And I am just revealing. There's a bug over there. Oh, it's just a moth. Look, I'm getting ready to take flight, y'all. It's a bug over there. Royce is getting ready to run. I just saw movement. I didn't see what it was.
Holly Pohl says they do a Christmas Eve box for everybody. New PJs, a treat, a book, cocoa, and an ornament.
I like that idea. My grandmother used to make us these little bags, and they would have oranges and nuts and like nasty candies that I never liked.
That's got to be, because my grandmother would do the same thing.
Yeah.
That was my stocking from my grandmother. Was oranges, apples, Brazil nuts, and I'm like, what is this? And I'm assuming it's a depression thing.
It's probably a broke thing. Like back then, they didn't have time to be, I mean, they probably didn't go to the store at all.
So, an orange is a treat.
Yeah.
So I totally get that. A treat in the Midwest, especially.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So, let's see. Susan Boehner, Whitmore Glazer. I remember watching the 68 Chicago convention. I can still hear the chant, "The whole world is watching." It was a crazy time. She was also at Kent State 2 days before the shooting in 70. My mom was on call that night. I remember that. We talked about it afterwards. I just remember her being on call.
Yeah.
Because nobody was sure how far out the protests were going to go. They didn't go that far. They didn't come anywhere near where we were. But
you guys had to be prepared.
we didn't know.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Lori Stanley Henderson plus Lifesaver candies. Yes.
Yes. Although, you guys remember those, like, I think it was some kind of a taffy. It was like candy that would fold onto itself.
Yeah, taffy.
And it would be like red, white, and green.
Yeah.
I didn't like those.
I'd like it if it's just vanilla.
Oh.
Just a vanilla taffy I can go for. Let's see. Leanne Ziegel, my mom sent me on an errand into the room. She had my presents hidden. I found my unwrapped presents. It was a sad Christmas.
Oh, you knew what you were getting. See, I would be happy.
Yeah. Verla Cooks and McDonald, my grandparents had little to nothing. Getting an orange and some nuts was special. That's what I'm assuming. So I'm assuming my grandmother was trying to share with me something that was special for her.
Yes.
But,
well, because of that, what was special in her childhood. I mean,
but, it's 40 years later, 30 years later.
I hope you didn't make that face at your grandma.
I totally made that face. I'm like, oranges. Great. Thank you.
You did not make that face. You would have got coal if you had done that in my house.
She was not pleased, but she did it every year.
She still did it. She was not pleased, but she still did it.
Patty Hogan says it's ribbon candy.
Yes, Patty, that's the candy.
I thought it was taffy because I remember taffy with the multiple colors.
Oh Lord, I don't know if I'm getting finished, you guys.
Let's see. Ribbon hard candy, they all tasted the same no matter what. That was Flea. So maybe, I thought it was taffy, but I could be wrong.
What time is it? Oh, it's almost 7 o'clock.
It's 7 o'clock.
I'm going to set this aside and let it dry, you guys. And then we may come back and fiddle with it some more. So my plan is right now, I am actually kind of digging it right now. I don't know how it's going to look when it dries completely. But I'm kind of digging the fact that I got this shadow right around on the frame. So I'm going to set this aside and let it dry so we can paint our paper. Because I'm going to use this stencil. I'll show you. Well, I'm going to show you. I'm going to tell you because I'm going to show you what we're going to do. You know what, babe? Can you reach me? Can you take those
Yes, I can.
and just, I don't know,
I can take
set them somewhere over there? My table, I have so much stuff right now. I'm saying I'm gonna set this aside, but I kind of want to make sure it dries because my plan is to get this middle decoupaged, get the decoupage sealed, and then I actually I think I want to wax this.
Carmen Dowmer, did you ever put a candy cane in your orange and use it as a straw? No.
Huh.
But Melissa Paget said we used to drink cocoa through a peppermint stick.
Yes. And my mom used to buy us a giant peppermint stick. It was huge. It was like this wide. It was like a log of peppermint. It was really cool. We got to bust it up and eat it for like 2 weeks.
I can't. The only candy I remember around Christmas, I think it was Brock's, B-R-A-C-H, and it was a hard candy that they wanted it to look like a raspberry, so it was like bumpy on the top.
Oh, yeah. I didn't like those either.
I did because I like raspberries.
Oh.
So that's the only one I remember. Let's see. Susan Steinberg Prentice, I still put oranges in the bottom of the stockings. Dawn Burns Oliver, not a lot of money. It was a gift from the heart. I understand now.
But 12-year-old you wasn't just, you know.
Now, on the other hand, my grandmother did defend me to my grandfather because I love G.I. Joe. And to my grandfather, even though he was in the Army, G.I. Joe was in the Army and the Air Force and the Marines.
Maybe he just didn't want you to be in the Army.
No, he didn't want me playing with dolls.
Oh.
Why is this kid playing with dolls? He ain't a girl.
G.I. Joe is not a doll. It's an action figure.
Well, we didn't use that phrase as often as it is used today.
I know. I'm just messing with you.
But my grandmother defended me. It was like, he likes it. And so I got G.I. Joe.
My grandbaby wants it. Dang it. He can have it. I'm sorry. I just wanted to sand that again. I kind of enjoy the way it's smooth.
Oh, Melissa Paget says she'll stay on. You can finish.
Well, we have time. It's 7:02. So we're going to paint the decoupage paper really quick because I want to wax this. So I'm trying to think of my steps because I did not plan this project out. My background could be a lot prettier if I had planned it better, but it's okay. I don't want to put wax on my board before I decoupage because the wax could create a resist and affect my adhesion. And so I'm going to stop right here and go ahead and apply my decoupage and get it sealed so that I can continue with the wax. And so I'm going to set this aside. And I know it looks ugly, y'all. Just trust the process. It's going to be fabulous when we're done.
Honestly, at the moment, the way it's kind of swirling, it looks like a Munch painting.
Oh. Okay. I'll take it.
I mean, it's probably just me, but... okay, let's see. Over on the YouTubes, Heidi Kulachowski. My oldest was born on Christmas Eve, therefore I don't let anyone open gifts until Christmas, so she has a special day just for her.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Even as an adult, we continue that tradition. Good for her. Good for you. Let's see. Diane Kent. I'm an old lady, and I did it for my kids when they were young. I don't think any of my kids, I'm assuming it's the oranges and the nuts, I don't think any of my kids did it for my grandkids or grandkids. And she says, my daughter is 34, we live together, so she still gets fruit and nuts in the old stocking. And
I liked my nuts. I enjoyed cracking them.
Yeah, walnuts. A lot of walnuts, a lot of Brazil nuts. Brazil nuts.
Brazil nut, that was like a job to get that thing open.
My mother loved Brazil nuts, so I would give them to her.
But I mean, to get it open was just...
Yeah.
Seriously. I did have another stencil, you guys. So.
And Angela Soli loved those raspberry Brocks. It was the only Christmas hard candy I liked.
Was the raspberry
It was the raspberries.
I don't know. So for my, the paper is larger than what I need, right? But I really don't want the deer. I want to focus on the dove. And so I'm just trying to figure out, because I'm going to go through and I'm going to stencil onto my decoupage paper, and then I'm going to fussy cut it out. So before I start, I want to make sure that what I want is where I want it, right? I know that makes sense. So that's what I'm doing right now.
Jim Visithin jumped on. I'm assuming somehow affiliated with Alyssa. My dad had the same reaction to G.I. Joe that my brother and I had. No matter how cool or manly the adventure we created. Huh. I get it. Yeah, it was a thing in the 60s.
I guess it's just...
Well, G.I. Joe was the first. I think that's the big thing to remember. Because wooden soldiers, they had those forever.
Yes.
But the idea of a posable, dressable...
Oh, you could dress him too, that's
figure for a boy.
Y'all doing a little bit too much.
And yeah, I'm dressing him up in an army uniform and giving him an M1 rifle. Come on now.
I don't know.
Peggy Terrell always got silly putty in my stocking. Love that stuff.
Ooh, I love silly putty. You could put it on the comics on Sunday.
Candace Clay, we got Macintosh toffee at Christmas. Smack, shatter, eat.
That sounds good.
Carmen Dalmer, it was a doll. Did you have the one that talked? Yes, I had one that talked. But generally I didn't, because he was more expensive. So
I'm going to use ink, you guys, in a beauty blender, and I'm just going to go around the edge of the stencil, because at this point, all I want to do is just mark where I want to cut my stencil. And I guess I could have just as easily used like a marker or something too, right? Because I'm going to cut my paper so that it fits perfectly inside of my frame.
And I did not like the G.I. Joe that talked because I like to bring my G.I. Joes into the bathtub. Get him in that frogman outfit.
You can't get that one wet.
And he got wet and he didn't talk. So I was like, I don't want it talking.
He too fancy, huh?
Yep.
Oh, you fancy, huh?
Melissa Paget, best gift ever, box of 64 crayons. There was always one kid in school that had the 64. It was always a girl. Always a girl. But we used her sharpener.
Oh, yeah. I like the box that had the sharpener on it.
Yeah.
And you guys, I'm doing this complicated project. I could have just painted a stencil on something and put something in it and been done. But y'all know me. I'm extra.
Susan Steinberg Prentice, I didn't like the dolls that talked. They freaked me out.
Girl, I'm with you. My sister had a doll and it had like a motion detector on it. No. I was like, Portia, you and your evil doll need to go somewhere.
So I got to ask you about this one, because you're the same age as my cousin, literally. Mm-hmm. One year she got a doll that pooped.
Yep. Baby this and that.
Yeah. Did you get that?
I did.
Her dad and her older brother, I'm 8 years older, and her older brother was 3 years older than me. The two of them cracked up. They played with that the whole Christmas, just making that thing poop, to the point where my aunt finally said, "You're wasting all the stuff that comes with it."
Yeah, because the food is what makes it poop. They're wasting stuff. Boys.
Yeah, Jim Visithin, the string to pull for talking will get caught on stuff. True. David, Verla Cookson McDonald, David, you must have been an only child. I was. Jim, I found a place in Brazil. They had the license for G.I. Joe, because Hasbro licensed G.I. Joe all over the world. Mm-hmm. And I'm learning all about these licenses. I knew about the English version.
Yeah, we were watching that the other night.
Right, which was called Action Man. I actually did a story for a magazine on Action Man. Oh. One of the few I did for national magazines. I wrote for Rolling Stone twice, and this was for Toy Collector or something on Action Man. So I knew about Action Man, but I'm slowly learning about the others. This one's called Falcon in Brazil. The company is Estrela, Estrela, not two, because we're used to, I think, the Mexican Spanish spelling of Estrella, the two L's. So the company's called Estrella, and I think they're reissuing the originals. Ooh. So just to let my wife know, during our lunch, with friends today. I did happen to text the company and find out if I could buy it in America and they'd ship it. So they have like 4 or 5 G.I. Joes, including one I've never seen before. Just saying. Just throwing it out there. So, Jim, I'm with you, brother. Let's see. Zoe Panette, G.I. Joe didn't give it up even after waterboarding. G.I. Joe was tough. He was tough. And we always had the wounded G.I. Joe. Because all my friends were into G.I. Joe, too. So on the rare occasion we would get together, there was invariably one with no leg or no arm.
Oh, he was
the wounded one.
He was the wounded soldier.
Yeah. Candace Clay says, love your extra. Alyssa says, yes, that's my husband. We watch together on YouTube and comment separately on our phones on Facebook. Well, Jim's my hero because he had G.I. Joe too. Susan Boehner, Whitmore Glazer, fresh fruit was not readily available out of season back when I was a kid, 50s and 60s.
Oh, that's true. So an orange really was a treat.
Yeah, my parents were adults in the Depression. We didn't do stockings, but we always had bowls of nuts and oranges at holiday time. My aunt always brought ribbon candy, which I didn't like, and Claxton fruitcake, which I did.
Oh, fruitcake.
My mother loved fruitcake.
Oh my gosh.
And every year I got sucked into trying one of those goofy cherries.
You got sucked in?
I was like, it's a cherry. I love cherries.
No. Well, because they're soaked in like brandy or something.
Yeah, they weren't good.
No. They were not good. I should have made my lines a little bit darker because I'm guessing on some of these places, but you guys know, we'll work it out. It'll be fine.
Kathy Tegardine, did G.I. Joe take furlough and go see Barbie? I will admit this one time. I had one friend who had a sister.
Oh
and
my
he had
gosh.
Barbies. And one time, there were like 3 or 4 of us, and we were like, you know what? G.I. Joe should hang out with Barbie. And we tried it, and we were like, yeah, we don't like this.
We don't like that.
So
Barbie was taller than G.I. Joe.
She was. We didn't care for that.
You know, I was an only child, well, for 6 years. It was 6 years before my brother was born. And so I used to get a lot of stuff. And then those other brats came along. They ruined everything.
Let's see. Dawn Burns Oliver, easy bake ovens, fruitcake, not something I like.
No. I don't want an easy bake oven. It took 5 years just to bake one cake, but it was fun though.
Barbara Garrels, the only doll I ever loved was Tiny Tears. After that Christmas 1954, I never needed or wanted another doll.
Oh.
Second time around, NSW says hello from Australia.
Hello.
Who was your G.I. Joe? I think it was Action Man in Australia too, but I'm not sure. So I've learned there was in Spain, it was Geyper Man, which I think I'm pronouncing improperly.
Geyper.
Geyper.
Okay.
So Geyper Man. Brazil was Falcon. Germany was Group Action Joe. Yeah. So I'm learning all this. Leanne Ziegel, I had a generic Barbie. Her leg split. I made her a permanent cast.
Little paper mache, huh, Leanne?
Yep. My cousin, 1970. Do you remember the Baby Beans doll? Just bean bags with a doll's head on it.
No. I don't remember that one.
They got her one of those, and my cousin's name is Athena, and she loved that doll. She took that doll everywhere, and so it became Athena Beana.
Oh, that's why you guys call her
Athena Beans, and just it got to Beanie, and that was her nickname. It was Beanie, and I called her Beanie as an adult.
Oh no!
And she got mad.
Yes.
Would you please not call me that? Okay. It really is a struggle for me to not call her Beanie.
I could see why a child would love that though. Like, just as far as like, what's the word I'm looking for? Like how it feels. I think Damar, although I gave Damar a Beanie Baby, and he was like, mm-mm.
So it wasn't Beanie Babies. It was just a doll.
But the body was full of beans.
It was
right?
a beanbag.
Yeah.
I mean, and they stitched like arms and legs. The legs, I don't think anything. The arms had like, they put like a plastic hand at the
I should
end,
have painted that first.
and it was a plastic head, but everything else was a fabric and beans in it.
But I mean, you can feel it.
In the
is what
shape
I mean.
of a baby.
Yeah.
You know. And yeah. Let's see. Patty Hogan on YouTube just finished quilting a baby quilt. Thanks for the company. I was running out of gas, almost gave up, but you guys got me going. Thanks for the inspiration.
Oh, good. Don't quilting. I don't know. I say I will never quilt, but I have friends who say they never quilt and they retired and now they quilt. So I could be wrong.
Patty Hogan, my husband was a late life baby. He was closer in age to his nephews. He was forced to give them his G.I. Joes. They destroyed them. He never forgave them. I gave them to, I had 3 cousins born the same year as you, 1970. 2 girls, 1 boy. When I outgrew my Joes, I gave them to my boy cousin, Mark. I don't ever remember seeing them at his house.
Never.
Yeah, so I assume
again.
they got tossed.
Well, they don't have the same reverence.
They
as you
didn't.
did.
He was, you know, I don't even think G.I. Joe was for sale in America when I gave him to him.
Yeah.
Because they didn't want to give him to him when he was a baby, you know, because they had small pieces. So, let's see, Amber Demakowitz, I got a baby doll that pooped. Oh, if I had only known then.
Right? We were volunteering for poop duty.
Yeah. Amber says she also had her 2 children 10 years apart, so almost like 2 firsts.
Yes, girl. My boys are 11 years apart. Yes, it's like having 2 only children, for real. Even now. So my oldest is 33. He'll be 33?
Yes. No, he's
be
32 because David's 35.
Yeah, he'll be 33 in February.
Yep.
I go ahead of time. So he's 32, and my youngest will be 23. So they were 11 years apart. And even today, remember when I went to Tucson and just spent the day with Jordan? I don't know if you guys remember, I went live from his apartment. It was on a Saturday. I think I was doing a mixed media mix-up or something. But I went live from Jordan's apartment. And so I just went to spend the day with him. And so on the way back, Dom calls me, "What are you doing? I've been calling you." I'm like, "Well, I've been at Jordan's house." "Oh, you go to his house and hang out, but you don't come to my house." Oh, Lord have mercy. Even today, I still have to hear it. So he got me all last weekend and went to Phoenix.
So Heidi, tell me how to pronounce your last name. Kulachowski or Kulakowski? I'm not sure how. I had 2 daughters, one when I was young, one when I was older, 25 years apart.
Oh my goodness.
Raised 2 only children. And Patty Hogan said she had the real oven that you plugged in and got hot, a real oven. Good times. And we have a couple people saying, what are you putting on right now?
Okay, so you guys, I'm just painting. Rather than trying to paint the dark center of my stencil and get it perfect, I'm just going to paint the paper is what I'm doing. So I just painted the paper so that way the dark won't show through and my design will still be the star of the show. I don't know, there's been a lot of stars of this show, but we'll see what happens.
Laurie Stanley Anderson, I remember my Beanie Baby doll. I remember there were like 3 or 4 different ones. They were different colors.
Oh, I don't remember. I mean, I'm sure there was.
Yeah.
I didn't have one. Maybe I didn't.
And she just, I mean, literally it went everywhere with her.
And was it little too? It's probably,
Yeah.
I mean, you know.
I have to be less than a foot.
Yeah. I can just imagine that'd be a perfect baby doll, though. The weight of it.
For a toddler.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The weight of it, and then just, you know, yeah.
So, Carmen, I was so poor when my kids were little. Bought lots of pack of gum and candy canes, wrapped everything, and then put them into the stocking. They had to open all that first. They were tired when they got to the presents. Hey, we got to do what we got to do.
Gotta do what we gotta do, for real.
Yeah.
My kids we didn't ever, I remember, I would listen to the kids because I volunteered at this kids' schools, and you would listen to the kids after Christmas, like, I got 10 gifts, I got 11 gifts, I got this. Like it was a competition or something, and I just never wanted, I don't know, my kids to like get into that. So they got one good gift, and then they got a few small things, and that was it. Like I wasn't trying to go all out. I had nothing to prove to nobody.
See, now by the time my kids were around, still, we didn't have a ton of money. But my mom...
Oh, yeah, that's different. We grandmas, you know how we roll.
Oh, man, she went overboard.
Yes.
So, yeah, That's how they got their video games. My mom bought the video game systems for the kids
That's how we roll.
all the time until they started working and buying their own.
Yes.
So
I would buy a console like every couple of years. Usually, by the time I was buying the console, it was marked down because there was something new out.
yeah.
You know.
Yeah, no, not my mom. What's the latest one? You got to go out and go get it for me. Why do I have to go out and get it for you? Because I'm old. Yeah, well.
You know where to go.
That.
You know the drill.
Janet Taylor Borgers, in the late 50s, I went out, saw a pink kitchen set, so I picked it up, bought it over to the couch, laid there and played with it. Problem was it was made of metal, squeaked, and woke up my dad.
Oh.
Alyssa Visithin, I wasn't allowed to play with Barbie. My mother thought she was too well developed for a little girl, so she bought me the Sunshine Family dolls. Mom, Dad, and a little girl.
Oh.
Now, do you know the history of Barbie?
I know. Maybe mom knew
Your
the
mom was
history.
100% right.
Yeah.
For those that, well, let's see if any of you guys know the history of Barbie. You did answer Pamela's question, what are you putting on the paper? Yeah, you did.
Yeah, I'm just painting it white. And you guys, I'm going around right now, so I kind of cut it to match, but I'm off a little bit. So I'm just scoring it with this little tool and with my fingernail so that I can just, I really want it to lay really nicely in my frame. And so I got a couple of spots wrong. So I'm just trying to fix them.
Okay, Helen is Kulikowski. Thank you, Helen. Or Heidi, excuse me. Heidi says Kulikowski. Thank you very much.
This is going to be
Dreaming Cat
so
Studio.
pretty.
My grandma Lee was always good for a $5 bill, all through our lives and hers. Hey, that $5 when you're a kid, that's a good deal.
Mm-hmm.
Leanne
I could
Ziegel
give
had
me
the
a big
yellow
old
Beanie
juicy
Baby.
pickle, some Kool-Aid. I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
We used to put Kool-Aid in our pickles, like the dry Kool-Aid. Look, my jaws are watering just thinking about it.
Amber says was raised by my grandparents who lived in the Depression, so only got 1 or 2 gifts. And one gift was oranges and nuts, some ribbon candy and orange candy. The year as a teenager, I got a boombox.
Ooh. Oh my gosh. I remember my first boombox, y'all. I was the queen of a mixtape. Mad skills here. Making a mixtape from the radio. Just saying.
Susan Steinberg Prentice, I wasn't allowed to have a Barbie because my mom didn't think they represented real women. All right, for those that don't know, Barbie started in Germany as a thing for adult men, and Barbie was a lady of the evening.
Yeah.
And then
she evolved, baby. She evolved.
I can't remember her name. It was Helen something, who, even at a time when you couldn't, owned Mattel, because women couldn't own things, but she did. I think she did it with her husband, but he was like an absentee owner, and then eventually he passed away. She saw it, brought it over, and said, it doesn't have to be a hooker.
Yeah.
It could just be a fashion doll. And the first Barbies were really like high fashion, like who was big in the 50s and 60s?
Oh, like Chanel.
And yeah. And that's what it was. But the first Barbie literally was
a lady of the evening.
Yeah. So, yeah, and now it's become literally the girl's toy, so much so that it's owned an aisle in every store it is.
Yeah.
I wish I could remember the woman's name. Helen something. Dreamy Cat Studio, I cried when I learned the truth about Santa Claus. My parents said, now you can help with the presents out for your brother and sister.
Now you can work with us.
Yeah, which was way less fun than it sounds. So, Amber Demakowitz, wow, that really dated me, a boombox. And what were those wide leg, almost pajama pants that we used to wear? Elephant bells were what they were called in the early 70s. I don't know what they were.
I don't know.
Flares, I guess. Let's see. Zoe Panette goes, Kool-Aid in your pickles?
Yes. Like the Kool-Aid packets, the salty ones, you pour them in your pickles.
Not sugared?
Nope, not
Yeah,
sugared.
so unsweetened.
No, it was the salty, and like, because your pickle wasn't salty enough, we're going to put some more sodium in it.
Angie Champagne, we had about 6 Barbies between 4 sisters. My mom made homemade clothes.
Oh.
She appreciates that now.
That would have been fun.
Carmen says you can make a mixtape and David could play the platters.
I did. I would sit by the radio with my boombox, and I would make some really good mixtapes.
There was a great documentary about Barbie that, because a lot of people are saying, Celestine Todd, Janet Borgers, never knew that about Barbie. Yeah, nor did I. Barbie was just the toy for girls. That's what I knew.
Yeah.
And there was a really cool documentary about it. And she really had to struggle to get this doll over because, again, it's a woman running a company in the late 50s, early 60s, and nobody wants finance to do financing. Nobody believes a woman can do it. Well, she showed them, and good for her.
I hope she's still I hope her, sometimes you think, oh, wow, they must be really well off. And then you find out that somebody stole their rights or, you know what I'm saying? Like ugly stuff like that. Like Bob Ross, for instance.
Jim Visithin, the Toys That Built America. There's a story about Barbie. There are. And there's another one on Netflix. We watched a little bit of that. They did like 6 episodes, 1 episode on a specific figure or toy.
Yes.
Yeah, and I know it's there, but there was a long form documentary I remember watching. Could not tell you who did it, could not tell you when it came out. It was at least 90 minutes and went into after, because she got ousted. I think it was a hostile takeover.
See, that's what I'm talking about. It was her idea, and she didn't even get to benefit from it.
No, she did. She got rich.
Okay, I know, but still, she got ousted at some point.
But I think there was a hostile takeover, and then another woman ran Barbie for like 20 years during its second boom. When she started doing the designer Barbies.
Yeah.
And the high-end ones and the special Christmas ones and that sort. And
they're
so
more like the collector ones.
Yeah, and also tapped into the gay male market.
I have one of those. One of my ladies brought it to me.
Yeah.
She's still in her box.
And she realized early on gay men loved Barbie. So she leaned into that. I remember they talked about, who's the designer that did all the clothes for Cher? He was designing for Barbie too. But they were saying it's designed by, what is his name?
I don't know.
Bob Mackie.
I am sad. Not sad.
Yeah, Julie Brawley. I believe Barbie was released in 58. I know it was late 50s. So.
Okay, if I had to do this all over again, I would decoupage first and then put my frame down. Just in case you guys are watching and you're wanting to do this. Because I've covered up parts of my frame now. And I'm kind of sad about it. Because
Ruth Handler. Cool. I don't know how I got Helen. Thank you, Dreaming Cat Studio. There was an H. I don't know why I had Helen. Ruth Handler, yes, creator of Barbie, first president of Mattel Toys, which she co-founded with her husband, Elliot Handler. The couple started the company in 1949. And Barbie is named for her daughter.
Oh.
Because they had a different name in Germany.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, Patty Hogan, Bob Mackie. Yep. And that was a big deal. And I remember that. So that was in, the 80s, 90s? And by then, I had some out gay friends, and they were explaining to me why they were into it. And it's like, oh, cool. I got no beef with any collector for anything. I don't care why.
I don't care.
Yeah. Shannon Booth says, can you do the frame again? I
am, Shannon. I'm going to go back over it. I just think that if I would have done it first, but I don't know. I'm going to have to work it out, you guys, because if I wouldn't be able to paint as freely. I guess I could have made a mask, right, for my paper, and then that way I could have painted freely without worrying about getting paint paint on the paper. That would have been smart.
Maureen Peterson, I still have my Barbie from the early 60s. Back then you had one doll and bought outfits. That was the other thing I took from the documentary, was Ruth Handler smartly understood something that we've gotten away from. They made the doll cheap. Yeah. And G.I. Joe was the same way. Hasbro understood it. They looked at what Barbie was doing, and they said, yes, we're going to do the exact same thing for boys. Literally, that's what they said. And the doll was cheap. $1, $2.
But then you spent money on all the
clothes. And the argument was it was razor blades.
Yeah.
You buy a razor, but you have to buy razor blades every week.
Kind of like yours, huh, babe?
Yeah, I go through, a razor every week. After that's just too dull. So, yeah, they did that with the toys, with G.I. Joe and Barbie, and it was brilliant. It worked for them. Both of those toys dominated.
I know.
For
a long
decades.
Time.
So
I wonder if there's a way to make like a perpetual razor blade. I bet you there is.
Yeah. The way the first razor was, where you had to sharpen it every day. The straight razor.
Oh, no. Don't come in with a straight razor, man.
But yeah, it's perpetual because you sharpen it every day.
Yeah, that's true.
So.
Okay, you guys.
Rita Burnett, my daughter's got everything Barbie from my dad. Susan Steinberg Prentice, do you remember the name of the documentary? I don't. Because it didn't just cover Ruth Handler, it did cover the second woman.
It sounds like the one that he talked about, the toys that...
Maybe it was. Maybe that's what I watched. If that was at least an hour.
That changed America. I mean, because this is on YouTube, they have long form stuff on there.
Lisa Vansel, Polly Pocket nickeled and dimed me.
Oh my gosh. So, I won't tell that story because Jackie's not here to defend herself. I call my best friend Polly Pockets, but I won't tell you.
Patricia Cassida, when Barbie came out with bendable legs, that was a game changer.
Oh, I remember when her knees could bend. Because then she could get in the car right.
Carmen Dowmer, I love the frozen Charlottes. Or they were called penny dolls.
Yeah.
During World War II, they buried them all, and that's why all their arms and legs were broken.
Yeah. And Lexi loves those too, Carmen. And I think Lynn Brundage has some of those, or she had some. Man, y'all, why y'all let me make a mess?
Janet Taylor Borgers. Plus my accessories, my sister had the Barbie house. I had the fashion shop. G.I. Joe, I just had the uniforms. I did have one big thing. I got it 1 year.
Uh-huh.
I got the space capsule.
The space capsule.
That was the one. I didn't have the Jeep. I didn't have the Sea Sled. I didn't have any of that. And I remember we went to a Christmas party, a police Christmas party, and one of the other officers' sons, where Santa came and visited all the officers and their children and passed out gifts. One of the other children, I think it was one of the Rooneys, got G.I. Joe with the Sea Sled.
Oh.
I was so bummed.
Were you bummed? You should have been happy for him.
I did not get.
He's like, I don't want to hear that.
I did not only not get a G.I. Joe with a Sea Sled, I didn't get a G.I. Joe.
Oh.
And so, but 1 year I did get the G.I. Joe space capsule, which came with the spacesuit, which was very cool.
You guys, I don't know about this experiment. I'm going to have to play with it to make it work the way I saw it in my mind. I'm not saying it's not good, but...
Yeah, I'm kind of curious on this one too. Kathleen O'Brien Hoover says, interesting, what do you mean buried them?
I believe the factory that produced them was closed during the war, and a lot of them were buried.
Just tossed into like a landfill?
I think so. Unless you can correct me, Carmen.
Marie Price Miller, when we moved from California to Virginia, the Packers helped themselves to the huge box that had all of our daughter's Barbie stuff in it. Dolls,
Oh,
clothes, Corvette,
no.
van, and other things. I was ticked. Patty Hogan, only child syndrome. You're right. No argument
This
there,
is true.
Patty.
You're right, Patty.
I was disappointed I did not get a G.I. Joe. I fully acknowledge that.
And you know what? It's so funny because David and I, you guys know, we met later in life. And so we had conversations about things. And so David told me early on that he was going to need alone time because he was the only child. Which is fine with me because I can lay in bed in the mornings and watch TikTok while he gets his alone time in the mornings.
I do. I work alone in the studio at my radio station. All the salespeople are in a separate building. We have two buildings literally right next to each other. It's not like we're in giant high rises or anything. They're just two little buildings next to
And
each
you're
other.
perfectly fine with that.
And I'm the only one in my building, and I am great with it. Not that I don't like my coworkers, it's just I like them over there. And unlike being a newspaper editor, I'm not responsible for anybody.
Yeah.
So when I was in the newspaper, I had a department I had to oversee. So I was always around people. I'm great. Patty Hogan, my son is an only child. Heck yeah, it's great.
I thought my son was going to be an only child, but then Jordan came along, which I'm glad he did because I'd have been so bored if I didn't have Jordan.
Being an only child, I knew I wanted at least two.
Yeah.
Now, that's a lot of... It's easy for me to say. I wasn't the one delivering them. But, you know. Dreaming Cat Studio, David, you may need a comics, toys, music, sports channel. I'm not as good on sports. I was a sports writer, but I'm not as good on sports.
We watch a lot of stuff on sports.
No, we don't. We watch our nephews.
No, but I mean like the shows
Oh,
about
I like
the
to
sports.
watch. Well, that's because I enjoy that group of four. Speak because that's the name of the show is Speak because they're real. They'll say somebody stinks, which most people on TV don't do.
No.
And three of them played ball. So when they're talking, you know, oh, okay, they know what they're talking about.
They're not just talking out the side of their neck, as my mama would say.
And the woman who's on the show has been doing sports journalism for 20 years. So she's got a background.
Yes.
So, yeah. Patty Hogan, I was one of 5 kids, shared a room with both my sisters. I value my alone time.
I don't know what to do next. Let's wax it.
All right, Amber, I'm not sure about this. I'm going to read it exactly as you wrote it. I'm not sure. No, Dreaming Cat Studio, I knew what you meant. Sports is the one thing I'm not as good on. So, Amber, I found a razor as long as I take out of shower when done. That lasts 8 to 9 months. The razor head, amazing. Getting harder to find.
Oh.
So I'm not...
Yeah, because I think we women are, generally speaking, women's hair is not as coarse as men's. So I think that's why
that makes sense.
Our razors last longer too.
That makes sense. And I don't know, you guys aren't necessarily shaving your legs every day.
I'm not.
It depends on what you're going to wear. I get that.
It depends on what month it is. No Shave November. It's not just for men.
Yeah. But if you don't have a beard, you're shaving every day.
Yes. And I'm
For
just
men,
going
I
over
mean.
this with some clear wax, you guys. Just really lightly, just to seal everything up and see where we are. And then I can go back in and add some stuff if I don't like it.
Let's see. Vicky Moore, Royce, I appreciate you not being afraid to experiment in front of us. It's encouraging to know that not everything goes according to plan, but don't give up on it.
No, you just have to, you guys, honest to goodness, like if I'm teaching a course, like you guys pay for a course, obviously I'm going to make sure that everything is going to go smoothly and be super concise. But like when we come to hang out on Sundays, like I feel like we really are hanging out and crafting. So hopefully you guys aren't bullying me because I make mistakes.
So
because this is how I learn.
So you were very close on those dolls. Carmen says the plant was being taken over for war, so they wanted to save them and buried them in the ground.
Oh,
okay. So
okay.
it wasn't a case of, hey, I imagine the tax laws were probably not as lenient where I'll just take this as a loss.
Yeah.
Donna Burns Oliver, my son was in Head Start, did a Christmas party at school. My son's grandpa was playing Santa. He almost said grandpa's name. I had to stop him so the other kids wouldn't hear.
Don't ruin it for everybody else.
And Marie E. Price Miller says, my daughter is an only child and now has 3 boys, would have more if possible.
It's funny. I have a friend who was an only child and she had 3 boys. And so she struggled because, boys are rowdy and they wrestle and they fight and they, and she just didn't understand. Like, what is wrong with you guys? Because being an only child, she didn't have to deal with any conflict with siblings. So she said it took her a little bit to get used to it after being an only child. It's interesting, right?
Flea asks, by the way, you're at 7:40.
Okay, I know. I'm going, you guys.
Flea says, did you seal your paper?
I did. I sealed it over the top when I decoupaged it. I hope I did. I meant to. Oh, Lord, Flea, I hope I did. We'll see what happens, because I just waxed it now.
Kathleen O'Brien Hoover says, love the wax. It makes things pop. Is George coming over tonight?
No.
What am I hearing?
Their sign is not tacked down to the pole out there.
Because otherwise I'm going to have to go out and yell at somebody.
No. Are you going to go yell at somebody?
I may have to. Lisa Vancil, our house had a milk chute, clothing chute, and a razor blade chute by the medicine cabinet. Our cabinet just had a drop for razor blades that when you took the cabinet off, all the razor blades are right there.
I was going to say, where did all that, because I was watching somebody was redoing a house and they pulled off the medicine cabinet and there was like a bunch of razor blades back there. And they're like, what the heck is this?
I'm guessing in the 40s, 50s, or 60s that was a thing.
Yeah.
Because I remember those safety razors where you had to unscrew it and open the top and you basically like your scraper razors. Yes. Yeah, only men were doing that to their face.
Okay, I'm leaving. I mean, we really are leaving now. I just wanted to play with this.
Amber asks, what wax are you using?
I'm using DIY's wax because that's what I have on my craft bench. But you can, there are several brands of wax. I'm sure whatever wax you use. DIY's is nice though because it's not stinky. And Wise Owl's wax isn't stinky either. So I'm going to figure out, I think I'm going to go like the edges, some of the places where maybe it wasn't highlighted. What do you guys think about the yellow over the gray? I'm having mixed emotions about it. I really do like the way, I think it's because I set that, this stuff, what is this stuff called? The antiquing glaze. You guys remember how I patted around the whole frame first and then I kind of went out to the edges? So I do like the way that ended up happening. I think that's kind of cool. I didn't picture it being this dark. I thought I was going to use a lighter gray, but I don't hate it. And I think it'd be cool if I did some gold leaf on the edges. Would be nice. And so just really quickly before we go, I'll show you guys, because I brought some greenery out because I was thinking I could do like a spray on one side or the other. And then I have some rusty bells and I have this blank area right here. So I don't want to fall. I'm trying to reach for my tray without falling and busting my tail.
I gotta be honest. I like just the yellow against
the gray,
the grays. It's a one color. I see that every now and then in graphic design where you get one color, and I like it. I don't know that I'd like it all the time.
I think
But I do
if
like
I
it here.
go over it with a dark wax and just knock the brightness back just a little bit, I might like it better. But I have this pick. I was going to deconstruct it. And since I maybe put like you guys, like a spray here on the corner, but have it go out like that. You guys know what I'm saying, right? And then I found these bows on Amazon. You guys, I'm horrible at making a bow. And I found these and they're actually pretty nice. And I think that this will go nice when I think I'm going to put some dark wax. I have some down here somewhere just to knock that yellow back just a little bit. But I think this greenery with a bow, I think that's going to be really pretty. And I think putting the gold around the edges, maybe I'll just paint gold.
Look, I personally don't think you need to knock the yellow back.
No.
I think the bright works. Marie Miller says the gold leaf would bring out the yellow. Carmen says maybe, maybe not, but a white dry brush.
Yeah, I'm thinking, Carmen, maybe. That's what I was thinking. Because I was thinking if I hated the yellow, I could just do a dry brush over the top. But I'm thinking if I do a dry brush, I might do a gold, the pale gold, over the top of that. I think would be pretty. I would have to be super careful to only do it on the very tops. But I don't know. I mean, it looks really good on the monitor. I think I'm going to just, you know how sometimes you make something and you kind of have to just marinate for a little bit before you make any decisions? Oh, wait, I thought that was my snipper. It's the wrong thing. So, but I think that we're done. It's late.
Yeah.
I know.
Felice says no greenery nor bow, but yes to the Merry Christmas words.
Okay, so no bow and greenery on
That's
this one?
what Felice says. Connie Scanlon Gales loves the gold on edge. Shannon Booth asks, can you do another layer of the antiquing glaze?
I can. Well, I've already sealed it with the wax now, so I don't know.
And Lisa Vancil asks, are you going for a parchment paper look?
Lisa, girl, I don't even know.
Heidi Kulikowski says, the yellow brings a subtle elegance to the project.
That's what I was hoping.
Yeah. And
I think maybe when I redid it, maybe that's what it, because I think if it was just this yellow, but this one is, there's just a lot right here. But I don't know. I don't hate it. I think it does look really pretty. And then I have like this spot here. So like this says Merry Christmas. And I could easily paint that and glue that right there, right? That's why I was thinking a spray where it's coming this way and this way with the bow. And then my Merry Christmas right here. And I have my dove on there. I could even go in maybe with... Peggy and I were talking on our Zoom call, Peggy Tyrell, and I could even go in with like a pen and maybe highlight some things. So I don't know.
Can you zoom in?
Oh,
They're asking about that.
Yes.
A lot of people saying no greenery, no bows.
No greenery, no bows?
Yeah.
Okay. You guys know I'm trying to work on my finishings, so I'm trying to, you know, I'm trying.
Shannon says gold leaf the Merry Christmas in the sides, maybe?
Yeah. That's what I'm thinking. Some gold on the Merry Christmas and on the edges. And that's
Beth Ray, I think, has the absolute best suggestion. Sleep on it.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I think I'll have to marinate a little bit on this one and come back to it and see what I'm going to do because, and for those of you who are newer at creating and you find yourselves in this situation, I want to encourage you to not be frustrated because it happens, especially if you are playing and you don't have a specific vision, or maybe you had a specific vision and you ended up in a place where you're not sure. Like sometimes just walking away and coming back can give you some clarity on a project. But I kind of like it though. What do you guys think? See that yellow at the bottom, I think, is what's bothering me. It's just a little bit too bright. The distressed yellow is good.
I disagree. The yellow on the bottom is the one that I think looks best.
Yeah?
Yeah. Patty Hogan says you created your bougie.
Is it bougie, Patty? I was trying. It's really not my, my aesthetic is more like rough and tumble, but the wax is pretty and it brings like a certain, and you guys know you can polish wax too, right? So like right now it looks dull, but if I went in, I could polish this wax, and I could make it look, and I could give it a little sheen too, which I don't necessarily want to do, but I might want to wipe some of this back though.
One last question before we sign off, Lisa Vansell. How long in the fridge does the plaster last?
How long?
Because remember you said if you have any plaster left over, you have to refrigerate
Oh,
it.
you know what? I'm not sure. I'll be honest with you. I'm not sure. Maybe a couple of weeks, not a super long time. But the good thing is the plaster comes in the bag, so you can just mix it what you need as you go. And when you're working with plaster in general, it's going to be like variations in texture and color anyways. So you don't have to worry about, mixing up the same exact thing, I don't think. But yeah, you just mix what you need. Same thing with the milk paint. You just mix what you need because you're not going to be able to save it for a super long time.
So lots of good suggestions. I agree. Just step away for a
Step
little
away
bit.
and just leave it be for a little bit.
But I would say review all the suggestions because I'm not even getting to all of them.
Yeah, I'm going to, because you guys, I'm telling you, I like hanging out with y'all.
Yeah, they come up with great ideas.
So I'll review the comments, and I don't know if we're going to come back to this next week. We'll see what happens. But you guys asked me to use a stencil, so I wanted to make sure that we use one of the, I think that's going to be super pretty gold, that we use one of the stencils tonight. And maybe if I can add some sheen to those, it would look better.
We're almost at 2 hours.
I know. We're leaving. Good night, you guys. Thank y'all so much for hanging out with us. We have anything? Nope. Alrighty. Thank you so much. You guys have a blessed week. And you guys, look, I was just experimenting today. So you guys already know that you can absolutely do everything that you've seen me do here today, right? And you can do it today. Thank you guys so much.